Pokemon has had its fair share of controversial Pokemon. You got your Forces of Nature lovers and haters, your Miltank lovers and haters. With this many, it's impossible for them to avoid controversy. However, the same can't be said about you. If you feel one way or another on a Pokemon, you can just easily pick it up for your team or avoid it entirely. Starter Pokemon are a different story though. You are going to use those, and if you aren't, I'm sorry for your loss, or you're a degenerate. Therefore, if these are controversial, it matters a whole lot more. So today, we'll be looking at every final starter and discussing the controversy surrounding them, because that's the form we get the most use out of. So, why do people love or hate starter Pokemon? I mean, like, more specifically, I just want to use the term for Leo High videos. Before watching the rest of this video, I will be talking about elements in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, so if you do not want to see that, please click off at this video. We're starting with the least controversial Pokemon of this bunch, Blastoise. Combining a turtle and a tank was really inventive, especially for Gen 1. Good evolution from Squirtle. There's nothing really wrong with him, it's epic. Venusaur is known as the weak link usually in this lineup. While yes, that doesn't mean it's a vast gap. It just means people like it less. I am one of those people, unfortunately. Really, it's just a face. They should have kept something more similar to Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. That's really it though. Already this far into the list and we've struck controversy gold. Charizard has a really cool design. Fire Dragon is a cliche, but still a good concept. Great design. It's a great Pokemon, and that makes it popular. Unfortunately, that's its downfall. That popularity is used too much to its advantage. When Charizard got 2 Mega Forms, the trend started. Then it got a Gigantamax form without anything for Venusaur and Blastoise until the DLC, most likely put there because it didn't exist back then. In Scarlet and Violet, Charizard is a special encounter without Venusaur and Blastoise in the files at all. It gets too much attention, and that makes people despise him. While I see that as a valid reason, I still find Charizard to be cool. Yes, these two should get the respect they deserve. Charizard existing here almost confirms that to happen eventually. Hopefully. You better! Gen 2. Nothing really controversial. Everyone hates Meganium for being a direct downgrade from Bayleaf, ruining a cool concept and just being pretty useless. Yeah, probably my least favorite starter. I wouldn't even consider it for Johto playthroughs. Typhlosion is just a badass. It looks fearsome with that flame. Cough cough, hope they fix it in Scarby, I know you're in the game. If anything, more detail would have been nice. But that's the one I've used before. Looking out for Alligator, haha funny character limit, it looks fearsome. Definitely the best Croc starter, sorry that's how it feels. Skeletor still looks really cool though. This thing is strong, and you can tell. Great design. If you hate any of the Gen 3 starters, visit your local therapist today. Sceptile is a great lizard. That tail is really flavorful and funny on the Mega. A bit basic, but great. Also, I like it better than Grovyle, suck it. You don't want to mess with Blaziken. The design is fearsome and really makes you feel powerful with this guy on your side. Competitively, it's funny and that's cool. Swampert is the perfect evolution for Mudkip. This dude is someone who has your side. In fact, all of these guys are just bros. If I had any complaints, it's that Mega Swampert looks a little silly, but overall, the best starter trio by a landslide. Gen 4. Infernape is dope. The Firehead, the Monkey, the Strength, and the Broship create a great boy. Torterra is neat. I'd say general consensus is decent about it. Yeah, that's how I feel. The design is really cool, but that's about it. Empoleon, the next controversial Pokemon. Penguin is cool. It's the rest of the design that's the problem. The weird thing on its face and that weird thing on its chest are glaring. Some people see through that and instead see a cool design of a literal Emperor Penguin. I am not one of those people. I see it not as bad, just mediocre. Nothing really appeals to me in the design. Oh well, moving on. Gen 5 has the most controversial starter trio in the series. Not the most controversial starter, just the group as a whole. No one likes Emboar except for its shiny. At this point, the fanbase was getting tired of firefighting starters, and this one being the only dual type in this gen enunciated it more. The design is a little stupid. On the lower end, and one of the few Pokemon who aren't controversial due to being on the lower end. I feel bad. Samurott and Serperior are controversial because of their pre-evolutions. Samurott looks too different from Oshawott and Duat. I think this major leap is completely fine, and I like the Samurai inspiration. Superior completely loses its arms and legs, and that's weird. I don't really like that decision, and maybe they could have done a reverse Apon where the tail is a leg. Still cool design though. Gen 6 sparks the beginning of true controversy in starters. What I believe to be the worst trio in the series, because it really isn't a trio. It's a Greninja. This dude is epic. The design is near perfect. The inspiration is great, and using it is a blast. There's a reason this is the most popular Pokemon of all time. Unlike Charizard, however, no one really complains about justice for the other two. Seeing some of the Scarlet and Violet leaks, maybe they'll finally be getting it. Looking at the other two though, it's clear to see why they haven't gotten justice. Chestnut couldn't be farther away from its pre-evolutions, and it draws the line here. I don't really like the general design either. One of the worst starters here. That's common belief though. What's not is that on Delphox. Here marks the beginning of furry bait starters. A trait popular among most controversial Pokemon. How I feel about them, I don't mind it. Coming from someone who has a kinda animal as their internet persona without being a furry, it's plain to see. That not furriness does disappoint in a few areas in that regard, but overall, I do not care if this animal stands up. It feels like a natural evolution, where Pokemon get more advanced as it grows stronger. That applies to Delphox. While I don't really like the bottom half, the top is great. The face and pose is menacing, and Fire Psychic is a type combo I want more of. Definitely one of the most overhated Pokemon ever. I started with Gen 7, so prepare for some bias. Decidueye is cool, and most people believe that as well. It's emo. That's a good thing. Archer Owl is a great concept, and I wish I got to use it more. However, there's a massive wall standing in that way. Incineroar is probably the most controversial Pokemon here. Its haters despise it, and its lovers adore it. Or, you're a middle ground. I almost considered making the entire Leo high on Incineroar due to this, but that felt like it would stretch on for too long. There was another reason, and that was how much I love this thing. As my first starter, a cat, and my Smash main, there's no way to escape this. If I go into competitive, I'm using this guy. Hopefully they bring him in. Decidueye in Scarlet and Violet for Legends Arceus reasons. I don't see a reason to fill in the gaps for Gen 7, as well as Gens 1, 2, and 5. I mean, they're going to do it for Gen 1. If you hate the masculinity of it, I ask you, if you wanted to make a wrestler cat, how would you do so? Yeah, you can have that opinion. Just know that I and many others love this thing to death. And then there was one. Primarina is probably the second most controversial, although that might change with Meowscarada. This one, unfortunately, is a miss for me. The gendering is jarring, but that could be the same for Incineroar. The difference is that as a base form, Popplio was leaning a bit towards the male side. Then Brionne came and hammered that scale the other way. Again, this could all be biased, especially since 9-year-olds are sexist, but I still don't like the line. I'm basically saying Incineroar but opposite. Like that, you're free to like Primarina. It's just not for me. Gen 8, the most ass starters ever. First of all, no dual types. Our first generation where all three are controversial. Yay! Rillaboom feels like just a grass monkey. Even with the drums, it feels generic. There could have been more going on here. Cinderace, the best one here. It's a 6 out of 10. I like the soccer inspiration, but it doesn't look right. Seeing it come off of the other two, and especially Raboot, it's a bit of a downgrade. Still, it's funny and competitive. Inteleon, the most controversial one here. Some people despise this thing, and I don't know why. It's not great, but it's a completely serviceable Pokemon with a gun. Yeah, nothing really to say here. Hey look, Legends Arceus Pit Stop. All of these are controversial again, but to a higher extent. People either really enjoy them or find them a bit disappointing. Hisui and Decidueye is pretty cool, although it took a long time to grow on me. A problem I see with this bunch is that they're always compared to their original design. I felt a bit disappointed, but after seeing it in a new light, I like it. Not as much as Samurott though. While yes, barely anything changed besides armor, new light. I like it, even more than the original. I appreciate the little details with this thing. Typhlosion is cool, but not as much as the other two. The change is a little jarring, but the new flames in Origin are cool. And lastly, with Gen 9. These are still leaks at the point of writing, but seeing how official they look, I'm rolling with it anyways. Anyways, I'm picking Meowscarada, you can't judge me. I was intent on picking Sprigatito as soon as it was revealed, and I'm not holding back now. I love cats, masks are dope, and it managed to not be completely overgendered. While yes, some is there, it's enough to be a great Pokemon, like Skeledirge. While being my least favorite of this generation, it still is absolutely dope. People are praising this thing for breaking the humanoid starters trend, and even the trend of bipedal fire types. Yes, it is cool, but I would prefer it if it kept more traits from Fuecoco and Crocolore. Speaking of, it gets huge from that point to there, which isn't really a good thing. A bit over-designed, but still, sick as hell. It even has a little friend on its nose. Quaquaval is gay, and that's funny. However, I wanted it to be a bit more butt-kickery than what we have now. I'm disappointed with what we have. Still a guy that I'd love to use one day. Anyways, that's all of them. Scarlet and Violet come out today, and I could not be more excited. The most promising looking main formula game since Black and White 2, and I have high expectations. I hope I don't get burned out on the series. I've been preparing 2 other Pokemon videos, and I'm surprised I haven't yet. Scarlet and Violet look promising though, and I'll still play them and enjoy them. These new designs are amazing, man. I'm going to be saying my opinions on them, including some of the leaked ones, so if you still don't want to look at them, thanks for watching. Now go click, this video. 3, 2, 1. Tinkaton is by far the biggest standout here. As soon as I saw it, I knew it would go on my team. Kilowattrel is a great addition to the regional bird line. Not as good as Slash Gens, but still cool. I find the Nacli line so interesting, and I absolutely love their names. Doxbin is adorable, and I wish I could have it if not for the type overlap. I don't know, there's always the possibility of being encountered too late. Mablestiff and Houndstone are terrifying. Espartha looks bad and is the worst one here. What the f*** were they on when they were designing Palafin? Shriddle is the perfect name, and I will protect it with my life. Toadsquirrel freaks me out. Arbolivia is a nice boy. Annihilate is a great addition and looks sick. Finally, a Dunsparce evolution, even if it looks pretty basic. Every time I see Kingambit, I wonder what absurd level it must evolve at. Roaring Moon looks really fearsome, and I'm glad that Game Freak was able to successfully make a Crescent Salamence. Iron Moth is dope. I like how Iron Valiant combines Gardevoir and Gallade. I would have used Iron Hands if Paradox Pokemon weren't so hard to get. Delibird needed something. Why does Iron Doodalus lose to Dragon type? I like Mechagodzilla here. Overall, some of the best designs in the series, and probably the best sent to Gen 4. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.